Minute break, meeting some folks at your table, got some refreshment, bathroom breaks, and we are moving on to the last and the final 5. So next up, I would like to bring Kyle. Will you please come to stage and present your capstone project at Array?
Yes.
Right. I'm going to jump off the stage, so here you go. Good luck, sir.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Kyle Schumacher. I am also one of the boot campers, I guess now turned apprentice here in the next couple of weeks. Before I started at Array, I was actually going to the University of Wyoming for music performance. So computer science is a bit of a jump, but it's always been a hobby for me and something that I've really enjoyed doing. I think Stephen might have mentioned it. I also learned some Visual Basic in high school, which has been, completely worthless. But the important stuff that I liked out of that were the problem-solving things, like, how do I get this computer to do whatever I want, really? So that's been what I've always enjoyed with computer science. I had heard about Array from an old friend of mine. I put something on Facebook about this, oh man, I did this, tech and design boot camp. And it was I think the first one that Array had done. And I thought, oh wow, that's interesting. Like something like that's in Cheyenne. And it's, it's tech. That sounds really, really interesting. So I've kind of kept tabs over the last few years. And it just worked out that I saw an ad for Array and I thought, oh yeah, I'll check on that. And then the apprenticeship. And so I thought, why not? What the heck? I, applied, and a bunch of steps later, here we are. So that has been my journey to Array. So my program is a lot smaller of a clientele than everyone else, it seems. My friends and I like to play games a lot. So the app that I've created is a solution for playing card games online, basically, specifically Magic, for any of you who've played that before. One thing that I had noticed, that we all noticed, was that when we're trying to play this remotely, either doing it with webcams is clunky, it's hard to see things, sometimes the webcams aren't great and it can't zoom and all that, and then other programs that exist are good for other things, but it's just so much hassle to use these extensions and get cards loaded and what have you. So this is the solution to that. It was my attempt to make a clear, straightforward solution to playing cards. And something Stephen had brought up a couple days ago that I'll get into later is that the UI and the logic are game agnostic, so with a couple minor changes it would be able to be used with other games, so that is definitely something to be used in the future. So this is built in Electron with React, an Express backend. I didn't end up using a database like Mongo just because saving information locally made a little more sense, just because it was a desktop program. So we can just hop on in here. So the first thing the user is going to see is this little landing page. Gives them a little blurb about what the program is for, some basic usage instructions here, and then some of the copyright policies and whatnot for the creators of this game. So the next section is going to be decks. So the user can see either if they want to create a new one here with this. I have, oops, give me just a second here. Sorry, I was going to have that up. So if they have an existing list of cards, they can go ahead and paste that in there, and then give it a name. And then if also it will catch things that are not cards. So if you hit edit, it will sit here, and then it will tell you if any of these cards weren't found. This pulls from an API called Scryfall. It's basically just a database of all the cards as JSON objects. So when you get here, these are the results that I got from that database based on the user input. You can change the quantity of how many cards show up. You can pick like specific printings. Some cards have more or less. There is a hard-coded cap of 15, I believe, just because there are a couple out there that have like 100. And so that was, you know, it caught most of the cases. You don't need to have this enormous little drop-down selector here. So once the user has gone through and picked, you know, whatever printings they want to do, they can hit save over here. It will tell them that the deck was saved, and then it will pop up in this list of decks that they have. Should they want to delete one, they are able to do that here. Then also, if they hit edit, it will take them back to the previous screen, but with the deck saved, and then they can change it around from there. So you pick one of the decks that you want to use to play. It will tell you that it was loaded, and then you'll hop over to this room section. So this part is starting into the multiplayer, I guess, the multi-user part. It is built with socket IO on the back end through Express. So all you need to do is enter a display name, and you have two options. You can either create a new room here or join an existing one. If you decide to create one, it will generate a code for you, and then you just give this to whoever else wants to play, and then they will show up down here. If you leave, it will leave from the room, basically. I already have an existing code here, so let me just grab that. So there are already a couple people in there. That will show, and then if one of them wanted to leave, say, let's grab one of these, like, oh, Matt didn't want to play today. So then Matt will no longer be listed on there. The person who creates the room is the one who is able to start the actual game. So if we go to this person, when you start the game, it will push you to this screen, which is the actual table, I suppose. A couple things going on here. The little labels are who that player is. This little total is like a life total or a counter. That can, again, that for other games that could mean different things, but here at least. So a couple things you can do. This light section here is your board. You can take cards from your deck, play them on there. There's a hand drawer that pops up from the bottom. You can put some cards into that. I made this a drawer just because the big thing is space, and how can I get all of this information kind of contained well in one screen without it being really cluttered. So this was kind of the solution I came up for that. There's also a discard pile right here, should you want to do that. As far as on the user side, if you double click a card, it will you know, tap it is the name of the term, or you can right click to zoom in a little bit just to read, because sometimes the print's a little small. Right click again to zoom back out, and then if you have an opponent play their cards, they will show up on your board, or on the boards up at the top there, depending on which opponent it is. Their life total will change if they decide to tap cards. And then if an opponent's cards are on this board, if you hover over it, it will zoom in, so then you are able to read them. So that just about covers all of the functionality. One thing I think is worth mentioning just here at the end, I was originally going to write a React Native app for some music things I was going to try to do, but I ran into some problems where it kind of ballooned out of the scope of the project. So it was turning into more of a signal processing problem than making a mobile app. So about a week and a half in, I kind of had to do a hard stop on that and, you know, throw together this design work. So I think it turned out okay with the time I was able to do. Of course, there are still a lot of things that I could add here, but that I think just about sums it up. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up for any questions. And thank you all for being here. Thanks to E.T. and Matt and the two Jasons for being so ready to help and just very positive and encouraging throughout this whole process. So.
Awesome. Well done, buddy. Wow. I know, like, we've all been kind of chatting in the background, and there is a lot of technology happening behind the scenes. So well done, sir. Well done. So everyone, questions, comments, concerns you have about Kyle's project? So put them in the Q&A. Ooh, so Matt says, how are the decks stored?
So the decks are stored so I use Redux for state management too. They are stored as an array of card objects. So the API that I'm using has a card object that it defines in a JSON. So it's this giant list of every possible piece of information. So it's effectively an array of those. So then when you start, it shuffles that array around, and then as you move cards off, it pops them and pushes them. So it's a deck. I guess it's a stack is the short answer.
Nice. And the last question is, favorite memory from the last 3.5 months at Array?
Ooh, I don't know. There are definitely a lot of good ones. I think just the couple of yeah, Steven said dingus, in those first couple weeks, I think Matt in one of the, I think it was a Redux middleware example maybe, but it was an example of, oh, you can't use these certain words in like a chat box, like they're bad words, and it was dingus, and he decided that Kyle's the dingus that day, and so it just kind of stuck. And and then when we had our first little game night a couple weeks later, that was like the running gag, and that really made it a lot of fun.
Nice. Well done, sir. Congratulations. And I will see you at graduation tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes. All right. The final four. Here we go. Next up to present their capstone final project is none other than Patricia. Will you please come up on stage?
Hello, hello.
Hi. So I'm going to leave now, but good luck and very proud of you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Patricia Forelli. I started this bootcamp adventure back in September, not knowing anything HTML or CSS, so I couldn't be more proud to be presenting a mobile app that I have created to you today. I am currently located here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and was also born here. I haven't always lived here, though. I spent 17 years in North Carolina and a few years in Colorado. I began my professional career as an elementary school physical education teacher and taught in North Carolina and Colorado for the last 6 years. During that time, I became more and more passionate about technology. I would find every way I could to incorporate technology into my lessons, and ultimately decided that this was the career that I wanted to pursue. I am so glad that I did, and I couldn't and wouldn't have wanted to do it without Array. When I found Array and learned about the apprenticeship program, I did not hesitate to apply. I am beyond grateful to have been given this opportunity, and I have truly enjoyed every minute of it, and am blown away at how far each of us has come in these few short months. Thank you to our Professor Matt and everyone at Array for your patience and for taking a chance on me. So as a former elementary physical education teacher, I have really seen firsthand this recent transition from in-person learning to virtual learning. Before our students had to make this change to learning virtually, PE and recess were among the favorites for so many students. Now that many families are having to create their own school day schedule, PE and the arts in general have found themselves on the back burner. One reason for this is that many elementary students only have a scheduled PE class once a week. So I chose to create a mobile application using React Native that can help to give more elementary students access to PE whenever it works for their schedule. PE to Go was made to provide quality physical education lessons for our new learning virtual reality. So you are going to be seeing what I'm seeing on my phone. So let's explore what all PE to Go has to offer. Awesome. So while I was thinking about the design of this mobile app, I really wanted to gear it towards kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade students. That is a really large age range. So the two most important goals for design were to make it fun, but easy to read and follow. The logo took on a comic feel, something that you would normally see a pow, wow, or bang in, and the slogan was written to get kids excited about what was in store for them in the app. Virtual learning can be tough. Let's have some fun. I wanted the buttons to have the same font as the logo and everything to be simple yet exciting. The background is a school gymnasium to tie everything together and to help kids feel just a little bit like they're at school. Once we get further into the app, you will see that the background goes away more and more so that kids are concentrating on the content and not necessarily what's going on in the design. So looking at this first landing page, those people that are checking out the app for the first time have a couple of options. They can register or learn more about PE to Go. When navigating to the Learn More or About page, you will find a quick description of the app and a blurb letting mainly parents and families, not so much the kids, know that the app was created by a licensed physical education teacher. PE to Go is here to help give more elementary students access to PE whenever it works for their schedule. Kids can sign in to find videos that help them learn and practice different PE skills. Don't worry about what the weather is. They are games and activities that can be played inside or outside. This app was created by a licensed K-12 physical educator with 6 years of teaching experience at the elementary level. Going back to our main page, the register button allows you to create an account. Then it takes you back to the main page once you've done that. And if you've already created an account, you can just click on the sign in and that takes you right on into the app. So once you click here to get started, step 1 prompts you to check the weather. I am using Open Weather Map API to pull the current weather conditions. Now, yes, kids can look outside and check the weather, but this will also give you the up-to-date temperature, wind speed, and a short description. I thought including the wind speed was perfect fit for us here in Cheyenne. So right now, we are looking at 42 degrees, about 8-mile-an-hour wind speed, loving that, and a clear sky. So even though it's pretty nice, today I would probably choose to stay inside. So when I click here to go to step 2, it's going to ask me, how's the weather today? Should we stay inside or go outside? I can click on inside and it will take me right on over to step 2. There, it prompts me to pick a skill. As the app continues to grow, more skill choices will be added. For now, the choices are throwing, fitness, and fun. Soon to be added are frisbee, jump rope, and field day activities. When I click on any of the skill choices, it brings me to a video. Each video starts out with the name of the activity, then goes into what equipment you need. If you need to make any homemade equipment, it shows you how, and then goes into how to play. So let's take a peek at what a video looks like. The equipment that you will need is a paper plate, spatula, a sock, and tape. Create a paddle using a spatula, tape, and a paper plate. Create a beanbag by folding a sock and mashing it flat. Grab your paddle and beanbag and get ready to try out 5 pancake flipper challenges. So, and I just have to tell you all that when I was teaching and it was virtual, anytime my dog or cat made an appearance in a video, it was a huge deal. So that is always fun. But once the video is over, kids can take as long as they want to practice the skill or play the game. And once kids are finished with one, they can choose another to try or come back later and pick a different activity. There's always the option to go back and choose an outside. So looking forward to all of the possibilities of this app, the next step that I would choose moving forward is to include a way for kids to earn points or badges that would allow them to unlock new skill choices or like a fun field day event. Having something to work for would make this app even more interactive and fun. The beauty of PE to Go is that kids don't have to wait for their weekly scheduled class. They can go to PE whenever works for them. There were so many goals for this mobile app, and it was important to keep it simple and easy for kids to use, to make an app that they would want to visit more than once, and to create it so that a wide range of kids would enjoy it. Most importantly, the goal was to keep kids active during their time of virtual learning and to help them continue to work on the physical education skills that are so necessary to learn during their elementary years. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about PE to Go. I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Yay! Well done, Patricia. Well done. Very, very cool. So, yeah, questions for Patricia on PE to Go.
Ooh.
Very fun app, very educational.
Thank you.
Yeah, what was the hardest thing for you while building this?
Yeah, you know, actually getting the videos to play was one of the biggest challenges,
Wow.
surprisingly enough. So I was thankful to get over that hurdle and get that going.
Awesome. Any other questions for Patricia? All right, looks like we've got from Mariah. Are you going to be in contact with any schools in Wyoming to see if they will endorse the app?
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? I will definitely have to look into that, Mariah, because, you know, even though our students here in Cheyenne are in person now, you know, we never know when that might change. And I feel like this could be a pretty cool asset for those elementary school age students.
Agreed. So well done, Patricia. Super proud of you. So I
Thank
will
you
see
so
you
much.
tomorrow for graduation. And you're
Yay.
getting married also this weekend.
Can you believe it? Oh my
You're
gosh.
graduating from Mariah and getting married.
Ah.
Wow. It's gonna
I
be a
am
big
so
year.
thankful for this weekend. It will be one to remember forever.
Yes, it will. You'll never forget it. So well done. And I will see you
Yes.
tomorrow. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
All right, only 3 left to go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the next one. Garreck, will you please come up to the stage? All right, hey, buddy, I'm going to go ahead and bow out. So good luck and don't mess up.
All right. Well, as Evie said, my name is Garreck Vassar. I'm actually born and raised in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I've spent a good majority of my life here. I did spend some time away in other states, Iowa, Nevada, so forth like that. Before coming to Array, I actually worked at a company called myllc.com, which helped entrepreneurs start up their businesses, get their paperwork filed with the Secretary of State, do things with the IRS, getting an EIN, a lot of really paperwork intensive items. That being the case, I heard of Array when I was going through. I actually had to drive past the building every day on my way home from work. So it was always really kind of present in my normal day-to-day life. I saw it all the time. I looked into it a little bit at the time. Very similar to Justice, they only had a tuition-based boot camp going on at the time. So I kind of put it off for the time. I figured I'd continue my bachelor's degree, which I was getting in computer science before this as well. With that being said, my friend, who's very well connected and actually knows ETs, spoken to him a few times, heard about the apprenticeship coming up and recommended me to it. So I went ahead, applied for it. After a few months, I kind of got a little discouraged. Actually, hadn't heard anything back because it was in like February that I applied. Didn't hear back till later in the year, and then actually got an email that said we'd love to move forward and go into next steps. And along the way, ended up finally getting into that. That being said, the same friend who kind of put me into this, she actually has a theater company called True. They're a local company that tries to go for a more non-traditional theater experience, and they were looking for a mobile app to make it more reachable for a lot of their clientele, a lot easier instead of having to go to their website, which is not terribly well optimized for mobile devices at this point. So she was looking for kind of a solution to that, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to get some real-world experience, push out something that'll be actually out on the App Store we're developing. That being said, let me go ahead and get this pulled up here. All right, so I have the True app. Let's say, just bear with me, I do have a little bit of stage fright, a little bit of dry humor there for everybody. The problem being solved really with this is, like I said, trying to navigate to their website on your mobile app with it not being well optimized and done by a different developer does make it very difficult for people that are out and about, maybe trying to figure out what the show's at, things along those lines. When it comes down to the design choices on this, they wanted to keep with the website's designs. That's why you see very hard corners. The color schemes are very similar to their website. From that, we do have, this is their native blue color, which they strayed away from the non-traditional theater experience, as typically theater has reds and very bright lights, things along those lines. So we went with a non-traditional theater as the founders wanted to create a safe space for a lot of theater individuals to break into theater, as a lot of more established companies don't typically give newcomers a chance. So that was kind of their goal in mind when they created the True itself. Just right off the bat, we have kind of with COVID-19, it did make things a lot more difficult. They wanted to make that very prevalent, what they were doing. This does pull up just a brief statement about how they're monitoring the situation and following the CDC guidelines. as well as keeping in contact with local health authorities on performance and safety decisions. Then we have the calendar, and let me tell you, calendars are not a great thing. There's not a lot out there, so it was actually very difficult to create this. For December, they actually had to cancel a lot of their shows. So that being the case, we actually do have other little modals that show up here showing different show times. These are past shows. I went more with a calm technology approach, meaning you see that there is something happening on the state, but if you want to know, you actually have to navigate to their seasons page. That being the case, this does go all the way back to when they were founded back in 2018, and it does have plans to extend out for quite a few years as well. Another really interesting thing is they're big on auditions, getting newcomers to come in, even new directors. People can announce shows to the company even, and they may pick them up and decide to do them. I know a popular one earlier this year was called Dungeons and Drama, which was based off of Dungeons and Dragons, and it was short skits in that regard. So this just really gives people some basic contact info for the auditions, as it does take. Each one is kind of unique depending on what kind of lines you want read, what kind of parts there are, things along those lines. When it comes down to how the company markets itself, it's actually mainly through social media, like a lot of companies these days. So it was really important and prevalent that these social media be included completely in the app, which these actually will link directly to your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and show you their actual pages that they have consistently up. Moving from there, we do have their as they don't have any 2021 season content yet, I'm actually still continuing to work with them to bring that in for this section, but these are some of their more past shows that have rendered. They did Adults, Rights of Wyoming, 12th Night, which is by Shakespeare. And then to buy tickets, it was really important to bring it directly to their ticketing site in order to make sure it was as easy as possible for some of their older clientele that maybe aren't as technology savvy, or younger people that may or not have the patience to deal with a long process. When it comes to another way, they are still a new company. They're only about 2 years old, so they do rely on a lot of donations. They're very, they do understand that theater does have a lot of traditions, but they're also trying to break that mold of keeping it very standardized, making it accessible to everybody. So they do have a lot of donations that come in from various benefactors. This was originally connected to a PayPal, but in their current past few months, they've been updating things, and their PayPal needs to be updated as well. So we've been working on that kind of behind the scenes. They do have another individual that writes all their blog posts, as well as guests can come along, write their posts as well. It gives you kind of a brief description and uses cards, and then you can directly read their blog posts. From there, it only renders the most current 3. I do intend on having this pull directly from their site once they update it to be able to render the most recent 3 to 5 posts. Otherwise, lastly, coming to the contact page, we do have the actual founders, Adriana True, who's a realtor and runs a theater company in her spare time, so she's very busy, as well as Amber True, her sister, who is from the Laramie County Community College, who graduated with an arts degree. This is their main logo, and then these here directly link to your phone or your email of choice upon clicking on them to make contacting as simple as possible. When it comes down to it, at the end of that, I'd say if I wanted to add anything, I was thinking about adding in a login page to add in functionality for the actual performers or auditions, rehearsals, things along those lines, so they could have a private chat function, as well as a great place to come and find all their different times for when they need to schedule. Other than that, I'd say I'm really thankful for the opportunity to kind of come along and do this, and look forward to seeing what the future holds when here in January, when I start the apprenticeship. I want to say thank you to E.T., Jason Hammock, and Jason Berner. They're both they're all very helpful, and I've asked them all several questions, And then thank you to Matt and all of my fellow boot campers for all the help and in getting to this point. And otherwise, I'd like to open it up to questions and see what anybody has.
Yay! Well, great job, Garreck, and thank you very much. So, any questions for Garreck? I think, yeah, Mariah made a good comment. I like that you've helped local businesses too, which is obviously a very big thing for Ray, is not only just helping ourselves, but helping our community and our state as a whole. So yeah, questions for Garreck. Let's see. All right, from your professor, what was the largest struggle you faced working with an actual client for your capstone?
I think one of the largest issues that I had was the fact that she's so very busy with being a realtor and having this side thing as a theater owner. It was very hard to find time to schedule things out more, and then communicating throughout the day is very difficult because she receives dozens of calls a day regarding realtor things. So it was really just communication seemed to be a very large part of it.
Yeah. And then last, your favorite memory from the Array Bootcamp?
I'd say my favorite memory was, I think back fondly on the very first project that we had was the pixel art maker. And it seemed so hard at the time, but now looking back, it's like super simple.
Oh, look at everyone growing and learning. It's really awesome. So, well, once again, congratulations, Garreck. We look forward to seeing you at the Array Apprenticeship on January 4th, and obviously for graduation tomorrow. So, well done, buddy. Well done. Okay, we've got two left. And I would like to invite Mariah, will you please come down to stage and present your final capstone project from the Array Bootcamp? Come on down. Hi, Mariah. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, but I'm super nervous.
I know. Yeah, don't be nervous. I'm just going to be watching here, staring at you, looking at every single movement and everything that you say. So I'm going to get off the stage. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. My name is Mariah Galloway. I am a boot camper here at the Array School. I originally heard about the Array Boot Camp through my dad, who is in the chat. Shout out to my dad in the chat. And he did a thing called Leadership Cheyenne, and he heard about Array back in 2017, 2018 when they first started running boot camps. And he came back, and immediately, I think I was hanging out at my mom's office at the time, and he came and he was like, Tess, you have to apply to this school. They do this whole thing, and this guy E.T., he completely structures it differently, and it's all about programming, and they do projects, they don't have homework, blah, 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 all these cool things. And I was like, I'm going to keep my eye on that because that seems pretty cool. And I waited, and then this year, I saw that they announced the Array apprenticeship, and I mentioned it to my dad, and he said, you should apply just like to see, because like the worst that they could do is say no. And I was like, okay, well, the worst they could do is say no. So I applied as kind of a joke, haha, Happy Father's Day gift to my dad. And I sent him a screenshot, and I said, Happy Father's Day. And turns out I got through, and everything is super fantastic. And I'm super lucky to have this opportunity because way back in the days of people people that are geeks like me being on forums, I would run home from middle school, and I used to do HTML and CSS forum posts, like custom templates for people's forum posts on the websites that I was on for in-game currency. So it was like a little shop of sorts, and I used to make these forum templates, and it was like my favorite part of like Christmas break was getting 2 full weeks to sit down and do HTML, CSS stuff. And in that time, I actually figured out how to make a completely, because there's a lot of websites out there that don't allow script mods, obviously, because you can cheat at the games. I figured out how to make a completely scriptless HTML, CSS accordion, which was super cool. So I have that under my belt. But I've always really, really been into programming, and concurrently, one of the things that I used to do with my dad, and we still kind of do, he we used to go to dog shows a lot, and dog shows were like a huge thing. And I grew up around dogs, and I've always had an interest in dog training. I've been a professional trainer here in Cheyenne for a few years now, and programming and dog trainer are like my two big things. Like if you ever want to know about dog stuff, hit me up. I wanted to bring something to like put something together that was those two things at the same time. So I have a whole bunch of communities of dog friends that I was like, I'm doing my capstone for this project and I'm becoming a full stack developer and everything's gonna be super cool, but I need ideas for my capstone. I want to do this. What would you guys like to see in this app? Because coincidentally, my own dog is my task crane service dog, and I live with disabilities, and I know several people who live with disabilities who also own dogs. And one of the biggest things about owning dogs and having a disability is keeping organized and making sure that you have all of the things done that you need to have done, and in addition to training stuff. And there are not any good training apps for dog trainers that live with disabilities. So my app focuses a lot on technology, but technology that's accessible to people who live with those kind of disabilities. So I opted for a desktop app. We're gonna go like this, sorry. For a desktop app that can, like, at the same time as it helped people with their dogs and it helps everyone with their dogs, I focused a lot on accessibility, high contrast, big fonts, things that people that I know really struggle with, because there's a lot of apps out there. Like, I think a lot of the people that I work with in like the dog training world, they use an app called Trello, which is actually for programming, ironically enough. But it's not really dog training specific, and a lot of the functionality it's not specifically accessible. So with this app, I focus a lot on accessibility, and from here, I plan to go even farther with it, and I'm going to keep working on it. I'm really, really excited to get this up off the ground and actually use it. So right here is the branding page. As Tracy, I think, was just joking with me on the break. Everyone in the boot camp knows that I am not a minimalist, rounded edges, light, low contrast theme kind of person. I am thoroughly entrenched in late 2000s, early 2010s internet, where dark themes with serif fonts and high contrast were really like a thing. So I'm not giving up my dark themes no matter how much you make me. So this is the brand page, and the brand is Whistle, like, you know, when you whistle for your dog and they come, like it's that kind of thing. And it's the dog trainer's best friend, as a play on everyone says that dogs are a human's best friend. Well, Whistle is going to be the dog trainer's best friend. So right here, I'm going to toggle on the developer tools, because one of the most difficult things that I found in this was getting to access a database and use it and have it show up in my console. And I'm very proud of that. So I'm going to show that off right here. So I'm going to sign in with my sign in that I will eventually use when this app goes live, because I have a lot of people actually anticipating this. Click login, and right there, it returns that. So the first page it comes onto is the basic usability of the app. Is there's going to be a couple more things that you can't see right now, but they are in there, that Matt will get to see when he looks at these. So the first thing I want to show you is the user page, the user profile. So I have, like, it'll have the username of the person, their profile picture that they'll get to update when they'll get to upload when they create an account. This will have a badge system, because I asked a bunch of people and they said that the reason that they primarily use Twitter or Instagram or Facebook for dog training type stuff is the social aspect of it, and they really, really like being able to interact with each other and being able to keep track of what everyone else is doing and stuff like that. I think that adds a lot to the user experience, especially since owning dogs is a very social thing. I have a lot of people that I go to dog shows with. We compete together, we train together, and we become like a little family. So I just use random badges just to show an example off of Font Awesome, because Font Awesome is awesome. I did just a couple, and eventually I'd like to have, like, this user has been here since the very first version of the app. This user alpha tested the app. This user did this. And then underneath it, it would have the user's dogs. And this is my own dog, Boulder. And I just threw in a description because it's just a dog's. I just wanted to show the user's dog. So when you see the user's journal posts about their dogs, then you know what dog they're talking about. And you can eventually you'd be able to message the user directly and be like, hey, I like your dog. Like, what do you got going on? Whatever. And then this is just another dog that I threw in with the name of my future dog on there. She is not actually a dog that I have yet. Then on the next page, when you first log in, it would have a, because I've logged in multiple times, it has a getting started page. So it says like, welcome to Whistle. Like this is the basic navigation and some tips. And then this would be like, who's Whistle for? Whistle's for dog trainers. This is what you would use it for, and this is why it's useful. And then a little where do I start? And as the app gets more functionality and I add more things, the getting started page would have more stuff, more buttons. As every app does, as it grows, there's more things to look at. And then the next page would be the journal page. So one of the big things about dog training is that dog trainers really like to catalog their training successes, their failures, where they can improve. It's a lot like keeping a regular journal if you're more one of those people that are into self-help. I have, I think, 4 separate journals for my one dog, depending on what we're training for and what context I'm using the journal in. But I'm also a professional trainer, so definitely not, I don't think anyone else has that kind of problem as me, as I have too many dog training notebooks. So this kind of simplifies it. These, ideally, the training journals would be passed as props to the profile page. But right here, like the simple journal entries just to show you what the journal entries would look like I did some rally training with Mulder, or I worked with Murphy on my loose leash walking, and then those would show up on the user's profile page. So when the other user is talking, like when you're like, oh, I'm going to DM this person, oh, I really liked your post about how you worked on loose leash walking with your dog Murphy. Can you talk to me more about that and how you did that? So just for this example, I'm going to say dog training. I trained with my dog today, which is super exciting because I love to train with my dog, and I'm so excited to get to do that some more. So I'm gonna click post, and because I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna go force reload because I forgot just one simple little function. But then it'll show up on the journal entries page, and ideally, yes, there will be multiple users on this, and everyone will be able to see the journal entries. Not only there is a component that's hidden right now, not only on their profile page that over here, they would also have it on a front board kind of page where it's like a news feed where you can see all the people you follow, everything like that. But those will come later when I have some more time to dedicate to it. And then from there, you go to the user checklist page. So there is a lot of organizing goes into checklists. I'm a checklist person. I love my Post-it notes, and I love my 3 different buckets of pens that I get to pick from when I make checklists. So I would go up to here to these new checklist item and do the card content. And just for this example, because obviously you can see I did it 1,000 times, I'm just going to write, I need to do this, and I'll submit it. And then, oh, when this is done, I'll go to do, and then it'll say to do, in progress, finished. And then when I get one of the in progress done ones, I'm finished. If I didn't quite finish one of them, I would go back to the to do page, and so on and so forth. Eventually, I would like to have the columns and everything only user generated. There wouldn't be automatically generated ones. And then there would be a feature where the checklist that you create, like let's say this is how you potty train a dog completely, and you have like a bundled checklist that you're like, this is how I've always potty trained my dogs. Those would also be visible on underneath the profile on the profile page. And then from there, you could use other people could download your checklists, and then you could talk about those or anything like that, like able to share kind of thing. And then the last feature that is like the bare bones, like of what I wanted this app to be for the people that are going to use it, is the calendar. And it doesn't look like my events wanted to load today. So this is the calendar, and it's a really cool React component because I used basically Electron.js as a shell. I used React JS as the framework. I used MongoDB Atlas, Postman, and MongoDB for the database. And I am proud to say that I completely understand how servers and databases work. But then it has a couple basic functions that come in with the calendar itself. And ideally, the user, if it was working correctly, you'd be able to add an event to the page, and then the event would show up, and you'd be able to drag and drop events and all that kind of stuff. And maybe in the future, a user will be able to share the events page with other users, so they can like, oh, I wonder what my friend Cindy is doing with her dog on the weekend of the 12th. Maybe I want to take her to a dog show. Oh, it looks like Cindy's already going to a dog show. So you like, can you check each other's schedules, kind of thing. But that is about it. I want to say a big thank you to ET and to Matt Lindley for being both of the most patient and understanding people that I've ever met in my life. I have loved the experience that I've had in the boot camp, and I think it's super cool that I got the opportunity to do this. And I'm so excited for the future of where I'm going to go with all of this knowledge. And I'm super excited that I have the power to make what I want to make now. So I'm unstoppable finally. Ha 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 ha. But I will now open it up to questions. So.
Yay! Well done, Mariah. So let me get my little. There we go. Hold on. Yes, congratulations! You're one day away from graduation. So definitely post your questions for Mariah in the Q&A. But I'll kind of ask you the same question. What's your favorite memory from the Array Boot Camp?
I think my favorite actually started at the happy hour that we had before, like when we were all introducing ourselves before the boot camp actually started. One of my favorites is when you told us, I think one of the apprentices actually was like, this is not going to be easy. This is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. And that is 100% true. And it's the only thing I know to be true in this world. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And I have learned so much, and it basically reprogrammed me from being a procrastinator to working on it every single day and making sure that it works and checking that it works and checking with other people on how to do it. And I also got over my insane fear of asking questions and feeling like I'm being annoying. Even when I felt like I was annoying, I still asked questions and I still asked for help. And that was one of the other things that the apprentices said is make sure you always ask for help. And I will, from now on, always ask for help the first time I need it instead of waiting.
That's a beautiful, beautiful answer. So congratulations, Mariah, on completing the Array Bootcamp. I will see you for graduation tomorrow, 2 to 4. And yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
All right, well done. Well done. Okay, we only have one left. So saving the best for last, maybe, question mark, I don't know. So let's go ahead and bring Mr. Sean Inman. Will you please come to the Array digital stage?
Oh man.
How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. They put up quite the standard for me here.
I know. So how are you going to wrap this all up for us?
Yeah. So, well, guys, I want to thank you all for making your way down here today. And I'm joining you from clear across the country. I'm the one that's in Philadelphia. And I was actually born and raised in Cheyenne. I've worked a lot of kind of different jobs. When I was in high school, I was really into computers. I learned Visual Basic. I was actually like the president of the computer club. I've built several computers, and I've always just really enjoyed programming. I kind of had a hiatus with it, which was kind of the reason why I didn't go into the career field right away. And I actually have worked everything from driving truck to working in the oil field, and even selling cars was my most recent job. One of the things that I found most important through all of that was the lack of communication that we have, especially as we have evolved into these social media creatures that we are usually tied to our phones at some point, looking at Facebook or YouTube, watching YouTube. TikToks are really big, and the lack of communication with each other. One of the great things that I've learned in Array is I actually had an opportunity to meet quite a few people, and we met someone. Her name was Amber Case, and she really made a great point. And the point is that sometimes we get too involved in things. So with that being said, one of the things that I found is that I find it very useful to have a way to actually keep notes and keep in contact with people. And with that being said, I actually want to introduce you to my app. My app is Slate. Now, what Slate is actually designed to be a note-taking app, but it's supposed to be freeform. A lot of the times when you look at applications that are designed for this, it might be called a CRM or a customer relationship manager. A lot of times they're geared towards commercial customers, and I wanted something that was geared towards me. I wanted something that was fully customizable, that was, when you opened it, it showed you exactly what you needed to do, and it was easy to navigate. Amber Case really pounded home the theory of calm technology and being able to do what you need to do without overcomplicating things. As we can see here, I have a couple different notes here. One of them is ET telling me that I need to contact him. I have his email address right there. About my capstone project, this is going to be great. And Justice, I want to thank you again. This afternoon, you really helped me out with my MongoDB. We were working up until the last minute on this. When you want to create a new note, all you have to do is press the plus button. You type in the information that you want. And so I'm going to go ahead and reach out to Matt Lindley here. And one of the things that I didn't do, and this was actually on purpose, is I didn't put in data validation on some of the things. So like when we look at contact, I didn't put in that that had to be an email address or a phone number, because I may actually want to put that I'm going to reach out to Matt Lindley on his cell phone number, and I want to text him. And on top of that, I know that the best time to reach him is going to be between 3 and 5 p.m. Am I going to reach out to him about? I'm going to thank him for all the hard work that he put into this class and everything that he taught us about. I'm down here to the details, and I can put anything in here that I want. Now, I do want to remind you that my app is still in its infancy, but when I do press the check mark, we get a notification that the note's been recorded. We go back to our home page, and there's my note right there. Another reason why I didn't put data validation in here is because the name that you're looking for may not actually be the name of a person. It might actually be a subject. So it could be a vehicle that you have, and you want to remember where you put the keys to it because you have a second home, or you've lent it, or you lent a tool to someone. So say you wanted to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't add a lot of data validation into it. It's a very simple app. But what I really wanted to pound home with this app was that this is actually just a base level and a framework to build upon. And that's what I'm most excited about this app. It does use MongoDB, so it's very scalable, and it has the ability to add as many features or as little features as me or another customer would want. And with that being said, I'm actually done presenting my app. But I, again, want to thank everyone here at Array, and I look forward to the apprenticeship that is coming up for me, and I look forward to actually moving back to Cheyenne.
Sean, where did you go? Get back here. There you are.
I didn't mean to.
I was like, where'd you go? There we go. Well done, sir. Well done. So actually, if you don't mind, you showed me something the other night. Can you just kind of quickly, very quickly demo that?
Oh, what I showed you last night? Yes.
Yes, I
most
love
definitely. So in the programming world, I actually found that sometimes you have a really hard time. And I called up ET, and he and I had a great conversation, and he really helped me kind of get my head right where I needed to be. And so I actually found a couple videos here that I want to pull up. Give me one moment while I do so. Oh man, I guess I'll have to pull it up on Slack. I actually saved them, ET. I did. But let me go ahead and just pull that up on Slack then.
Yeah, give it a shout on Slack. Otherwise, I can pull it up too. So
yeah. So one of the things that I told ET was, I said, sometimes you really have to look at your programming and, or what he kind of told me, and this is something that I really realized talking to some of the people that we've had the opportunity to meet, is sometimes you build this huge idea, something that you think is going to be attainable, and then at the end you're rushing to, you're actually rushing to finish the project, and then you have to cut a lot of things out. And it's actually because of that I told him that I look forward to, instead of having a project that's like this, a giant pyramid that you can't finish, I would rather build a project that's like this, something that has a basis and it expands from where it starts. Is that what you were talking about, ET?
yes, it was. Yes, it was. So, well, congratulations, buddy. I know you really worked super hard over the last couple of days to present today. And what questions do you have for Sean? Question. So, Sean, what would be, I'm going to kind of go with that same question. Favorite memory? Looking back in the last 3.5 months, your favorite memory?
I had a lot of fun on the game nights that we did. Granted, I kind of hosted them, but still, it was still a lot of fun. Had some interesting trivia questions on those games, and there were actually T-shirts to follow. We talked about, Kyle had talked about the dingus comment, and one of the games that we played that was a community game, you could actually draw pictures, and the designs actually went into T-shirts, and you could buy the T-shirt, and there was a dingus T-shirt made with a duck with a cowboy hat. So I have to say thank you, Leanne. I believe it was you who drew the duck. And yeah, so that was probably one of my most, just the social aspect was amazing. And I'm not going to say that's the only thing that was amazing, but that was probably like, I will never forget that.
And your final question from Mr. Jason Hammock: what is something you learned while deciding what to cut from your presentation today?
So just like I had shown you the difference between the tree and the pyramid, what I wanted to do is, originally I wanted to have this huge app, and I still wanted to have the CRM style app, so only more on a personal level. But I wanted an app that originally I wanted to have a whole bunch of APIs in it that were actually going to probably end up slowing it down. Took a lot of research. Eventually I would like to put it in, but I want to put it in when the time is right, when I can do the project right, to be able to do that. So like things like a Google SSO and an Apple single sign-on. Those are some really cool things that I would like to see on the app. Some of the other really neat things that you could do with the app that I wanted to have was being able to fully customize what your text fields said, as opposed to just being like, hey, this is your subject, and have it like a full-on text editor, being able to navigate it that way. One of the things that I did trim out, because I went with MongoDB as opposed to going with Firebase, I wanted to have the ability to push notifications. Which is something that I would actually strive for, because those notes, especially when you're trying to make sure that you're contacting people on time, it's vital, especially if you may be a small business owner and you may not have $20,000 a year to spend on a CRM, and you need to have an app like this to be able to keep in contact with your customers. Having those notifications to remind you, hey, you haven't talked to this guy in like 3 days. He could be going somewhere else. That could be the difference between you making some good money and losing some good money. Having worked in sales, I know that firsthand.
Wow. Congratulations. A pleasure, a treasure, a joy I cannot measure. Congratulations, Sean. And I will see you at graduation tomorrow. So well done, buddy. Very proud of you. All right, we are wrapping up. We've got 19 minutes, 22 seconds, but I would like to really quickly, I'm going to kind of call on most of our folks are going to be moving into an apprenticeship here. So Jason Hammock, if you don't mind, just coming to stage, maybe some really quick comments about what you saw today and what 2021 may hold for them. So I would love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. So thank you guys so much for all of the presentations that you guys gave. Those were great apps. So also, not only congratulations to all of you guys real quick, I'll say congratulations to Matt. Great job, like getting people to this stage. Like it's been a breath of fresh air seeing like what you've done with the school. So this is validation that we got the right person in the right place. So awesome work. For all of you guys out there, super pumped to see everything that you guys did. You guys tackled some really hard problems. I love seeing that we have some great people, UX, UI. I love seeing people that we have tackling some of the more like difficult tasks on some of the back end stuff. We have such a breadth of talent, and I think all of you guys did just a great job. I'm super pumped to get you guys into the apprenticeship because we have some really cool apps to build, and I think you guys are going to kill it. So I'm ready. I'm excited. This is making me really excited to have you guys join us here pretty soon. So let's build some cool stuff.
Yes, January 4th, and we're gonna blink our eyes, and here we go. So, thank you, Mr. Hammock, Array's Chief Technology Officer. And you know what, Berner, I'm going to go ahead and call on you next. So, you know, Jason Berner is our Chief Creative Officer. Just some quick thoughts on what you saw today. So I'd like to bring you on stage if you don't mind.
All right. Yeah, great work today, everyone. Very impressive. I could see some of you were paying attention. Most of you were paying attention during the design week, so that makes me feel better. Felt like I was talking to myself for a week. But yeah, great work. It's cool to see you guys kind of work through problems. One of the things about being a designer is that it's not always just about making things look pretty or functional. It is a lot of times about solving problems, not necessarily just picking a font or choosing a color. It's figuring out how to design an app or build a way for something to work. And so it's to see you guys working through problems like that and figuring that out is very cool and promising. And I'm excited to work with all of you come whenever it is. ET says so many things, I don't pay attention to a lot of them. So whenever that is, when we're going to work together, I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to do some cool stuff.
Awesome. Yes, January 4th is that day. Thank you, Mr. Berner, for those comments. And then, you know, so Shanda is an apprentice, but Shanda's going to be helping us with Scrum, Agile, product owners, a bunch of like processy type stuff. So Shanda, do you have any words to kind of say about kind of like what you were able to see today? I would like to kind of have you come to stage really quick to kind of wrap it up. Shanda.
You know, it's the lag. Well, first of all, if you have headphones on, I'm going to yell just a little bit. So maybe take them out or pull them this way. You did it! Boot campers, are you freaking kidding me? I know how hard it is going through a 4-month boot camp, and it is by far like the best, most phenomenal work I've ever seen. So congrats to all of you. Lindley, your instructing skills, the way you have everybody together and working as a team is so awesome. The thing that I saw the most that was really cool was the intersection of people, the differences in backgrounds, the things that you're passionate about or that you're interested in, and that you made your projects come to life because of that stuff. So that's so cool. And it only takes one, right? You get one foot in the door for tech, and maybe you figure out that you want to do something else, and you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You can go wherever you want to go. And especially like now that you're here, you have the skills. And I think Matt said it earlier, like you learn how to learn, you're unstoppable. So thank you. And I'm super, super excited to work with every single one of you and also stay in contact. Yeah, that's it.
Yay! Well, thank you very much, Shanda. And so then I think, kind of fitting to end this, Mr. Lindley, why don't you go ahead and wrap this event up? So let me bring you, well, I think you're already on stage. So can you kind of take over? I mean, you've just seen all of your boot campers present their final capstone projects, your very first class ever. The biggest class probably coming February 1st. Here we go. So what would you like to say to everyone before we wrap up?
No, just really good work. So like I'm sure some of you guys know, this is the first time I ever taught. I come from a background of computer science and have looked at boot camps and done that stuff myself, but this is the first time I've taught, and so all 10 of you guys have made me look like a really, really good teacher when, it's the first time I've done it. So shout out to all of you guys. Thanks for that. Little job security coming my way. So good job. That's, you crushed it. Good work. But yeah. So thanks to everybody else that came out, and really appreciate that. It's always busy schedules and stuff. So especially on a random Thursday afternoon in December, like 8 days before Christmas. So again, thanks a lot, and I'm sure I will see most of you guys again maybe tomorrow for the graduation. So thanks again. And ET, I will let you close it all out here.
All right. Well, once again, I truly today am blown away by the incredible amount of work. 3 months. Everything that you saw is pretty much 3 months worth of work to go from not understanding or having very little experience in design coding for the most of our boot campers for 2020. It's pretty inspiring and awesome to see what the future generation of Wyoming coders and designers are going to do. And, to your point, it's pretty impossible. So I really just want to kind of give a hat tip to every single one of you for all of your hard work, your love, your belief. We'll talk about it more tomorrow on graduation. Every single one of us has gone through everyone here that's still left here has gone through a very, very tough year. Very tough year. Every single person has had to pivot, has had to change. It hasn't been easy, but I will always personally reflect back on 2020 as bad as it has been, as something that truly has changed me for the rest of my life. Being able to work with this boot camp and with the staff that we have at Array, which I will expand upon in graduation on Friday. I don't know if Array would have survived without all of you. But we all came together and we all supported each other, and we all went through lots of up and downs. And, that's really what Array is about. We are here to forever change the future of education and disrupt it, and to create an amazing company culture and a company of the 21st century. And I'm just really thankful. I get to come to work every day. I get to work with students and apprentices and my staff members who I love working with every day. Even though it's really hard and challenging and we're in meetings all the time, I literally get to go home at 5 p.m. and I was like, you know what? I love this. I love being a part of this. It's super hard, but this changed me forever. So I want to congratulate all of you boot campers who are going to be graduating tomorrow from Array. And I think something that Array has been kind of going through is we're kind of learning how to let go. some of our apprentices are off to their next journeys, and that's very hard because, Matt, I know you get very close with the boot campers, and, Burner, Hammock, and myself, like we get very close with our apprentices. And sometimes like we just want to keep you and like hold you and hug you. But it's time to move on. However, going back to one of my favorite fictional books is Harry Potter. Array, for all of you, will always be your home. You will always find a home at Array. So if things get dark and scary, look for that colored sign in downtown Cheyenne. When you come down Central Avenue and you hit Lincoln Way, this will always be your home. So thank you very much. And I'm seeing, which I'm sorry for you visitors, there is a dusty stick happening in the chat, which I banned yesterday. So if you want to know the drama that's been happening at Array in the last 48 hours, please Google the dusty stick. It has not been very pleasant. I know, I don't understand it either. Thank you, Mr. Hammock. But all right, so really quickly to wrap up, tomorrow is graduation from 2 to 4. So I invite all of you to come back to Remo from 2 to 4 tomorrow, Mountain Standard Time, to celebrate all of our boot camp students who will be graduating, who have done such an amazing job on their capstone projects and have a lot of really great careers ahead of them. So that's happening tomorrow from 2 to 4. We're going to have a really fun or a very interesting after hours party from 4 to 5 using another piece of software, being a very forward technology company. So you will see that invite there, and I'll talk about that tomorrow. And thank you again for, like, if you are out there as a parent, a friend, or anyone that's helped our boot campers kind of get through this, thank you. Thank you for helping them through, I know the last 3.5 months have been very difficult and been very hard. So for all of the family and friends out there, for our 10 boot campers, it's your support, your love has really helped them achieve some really incredible results over the last 3 months. So thank you all very much. And I hope to see most of you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for the graduation and celebration of all of these wonderful people as we move into 2021. So thanks again, everyone. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow. Bye. Oh, I'm still presenting.